Hello everyone, welcome to What If Issei Became Batman and Rias Became Joker movie. Before we start, please go support God of Hope for writing that awesome fanfic. This is the translated version I made. There will be some mistake in character's gender, but of course Issei is a male. Watching, Fooling the Devil. It was a normal day at the Hyoto mansion. By normal I mean the same as always. The girls trying to get a piece of the chestnut. And of course there were fights and jealousy. But that same afternoon something interesting happened. They were all now having dinner after a long day they had either for contracts or training. But Anobucho. Tell me, Eiju-chan. I found this at the entrance, and it has the name Issei-san on it. That had caught everyone's attention. So much so that the aforementioned got up from the table. Can I see Asia? She gave it to him, and he looked at the case and the disc. It looks like a DVD, I wonder what it has. It was the question of the perverted hero. Why don't we find out? Akeno asked very curiously. I would like to see it. Kaneko was also curious. And with everyone's approval, Issei looked for a DVD and connected it to the flat-screen television. And after that Kiba and Gasper also arrived and decided to watch that DVD as well. When played back, a 10-second countdown appeared. And those 10 seconds were enough time for everyone to get comfortable in the armchairs and sofas. With Issei in the middle and Rias along with Akeno on his sides. When the count reached 0, an image of a young man wearing a felt hat with a trench coat and an axe behind his waist appeared. That man looked ahead and began to clear his throat to say something. Good evening, Issei. If you are watching this video, it is because your curiosity along with that of your friends won you over to watch it. But anyway, here I introduce myself. My name is God of Hope and I am something like a multidimensional god. That had surprised everyone watching. And don't be surprised, I am someone who, even though he has a lot of power, doesn't plan on hurting innocents. Look, I put this video for you to see about an alternate universe for those who don't know about the theory of alternate universes. Ask those who do know. So before I show you, let me tell Issei two things. Everyone paid attention, but to Issei my words are these: stop being a damn princess, and take Rias to bed for going boy before I want to go there and bury this chair I'm sitting on in your throat. The young brown-haired boy was embarrassed by that. And for you girls, stop being selfish and put yourself in Issei's place. If he is like this, it is for a reason. With a damn eye, if you have a brain you should know the reason. The girls were now the ones blushing. Well, I apologize for raising my voice like that, but if you were in my place, you would already know why I acted like that. And also one thing, Issei, you will feel something of what that version of you felt. That confused the chestnut. Now without further ado, get your snacks ready, get comfortable and prepare to watch Fooling the Devil. Let's begin. The screen again showed a 10-second countdown. Until the count reached 0. He didn't know how it happened. He didn't know how he let that happen. The only thing she knew was that Irina, one of Gabriel's servants, was about to use the Spear of Destiny to allow passage to a demon son of Satan called Diodora. What? Was the cry of all those present. Irina helping Diodora? In Issei, the simple name of that demon who hurt Asia was only a sacrilege in his ears. In Asia, just mentioning it gives her great fear, and even more imagining what would have happened if she had not met Issei and the others. That demon was in the body of one of her dearest friends, Asia Argento. A sister who wanted to investigate the death of her twin sister, in which, despite the police being asked for help, she argued that it was suicide. But in her heart she did not believe that was the truth. It's me, and I had a twin sister? The ex-nun wondered about such a revelation. Issei imagined two identical Asias he would get twice as diabetic because of how adorable they would be. Something that cost him a cheek pull from the redhead for making him jealous. I'm looking for the only one who could help him. An independent exorcist who was not affiliated with the church and works as a lone wolf. That exorcist is the same one who is now on some doors with his body severely injured. Look, Issei-chan, that's you! Irina shouted. And knowing that he was an exorcist, although independent, she liked that he was someone from God. Wait a minute? Why am I hurt? he asked himself as he looked beaten and his suit was stained with ashes. Maybe if we keep watching we will know, but I must say that Issei-kun looks handsome in that suit. Akeno's words made the brown-haired boy blush a little. And they aroused more jealousy in the redhead. Since he has lost a friend, Saji, who lent himself to his help to prevent the coming of the demon, and also save Asia from being the door to bring it. No one said anything when they heard what happened to one of their friends. To Saji. But there were those who tried to stop them. Demons that violated the balance which they eliminated. Rias and the others were surprised to see how good Issei was with that weapon, and more how he killed demons left and right while they were weakened by the holy water. Needless to say, Akeno and Ross got a little heated seeing him fight like that. The same Diodora who was in Asia's body begging to be taken out. The green-eyed blonde touched herself on her belly, having that terrifying feeling of having someone inside and wanting to come out to kill you. Irina and Zenobia took her hands in support, as did Kaneko and Ravel. And to top it off, Gabriel's very own servant Irina, who stopped Issei from summoning the most powerful angel. Is that me? The aforementioned was surprised by that. Her plans were very macabre, to bring the cruelest demon to torment humanity, and let them know that the love of God is not something to be taken lightly, knowing that the only ones who survive that hell will be worthy of deserving the love and grace of the Lord. Obviously that girl was crazy. My God, what did I do? She was in shock at what her counterpart wanted to do, just like the others. Irina Issei didn't want to believe that, just like the rest. And Issei had no subtlety in telling him. Nobody said anything because it was the truth. The others tried to get the angel out of shock since they weren't expecting that. And the rest, you know it. And without hope, slowly Irina, with the spear stained with the blood of the Son of God, approached at a slow pace, watching as the face of the demon showed itself beneath the exposed skin of the sister. Being clear about allowing him to cross over to the human world. No, I can't be like this, how could I do that? The angel was in tears, and Issei immediately stood up to pause the movie. Irina, listen to me. She's not you. She may be your counterpart, but she's nothing like you. The chestnut's words began to help her, as did the support of the others. A few more seconds passed, and the chestnut was already calm. Are you feeling better now? If you want, we can stop here. Yes, I already am. I'm just disappointed with myself. But I know that's not me. Let's keep watching it, please. With Irina's approval, they returned to their places and resumed the film. Instead, Issei knows that he only has one option left, even if he doesn't like it. But the moment was desperate, and a desperate measure was required. Those present were curious about what the brown-haired exorcist was going to do. So, picking up a sharp piece of broken glass that was on the ground, he did what he never thought he would do again. He cut the veins on his wrists. Ah, I see. What's wrong? Asked the heiress upon seeing her beloved's reaction. It's nothing, Rias, I'm fine, he lied, feeling the blood coming out of his body staining the wet floor crimson. Now they were in shock again. Issei committing suicide? That's something they never want to see. He, on the other hand, did not know what to say to what his counterpart did, leaving aside the fact that he felt pain in his wrists. There must have been a reason for doing it. And then, just when Irina was about to stab the spear, time stopped. What happened? Ravel wondered. I don't know, answered the Nico. And a few meters in front of the exorcist, a few drops of a black liquid like tar fell into a puddle of water that evaporated on contact. And then delicate, feminine feet bathed in the same liquid gently touched the water. The brown-haired boy looked up to see the person who had arrived. That's me? But what? Now it was Rias who had to go into shock and confusion. Rias, why did you take so long? I asked with annoyance, not wanting to see her. He doesn't seem happy to see her, that's something Kiba noticed. And not only him but everyone, and especially the redhead and the brown-haired boy who wanted to know why. Hello Issei, she greeted him mockingly. Era, since when are you like this? Asked the queen to her friend who did not understand her counterpart's attitude. Rias, a demon daughter of Satan, in which both have history. When she was tasked with going for Issei's soul 10 years ago, she felt a sweet obsession with having him by her side as her own, whether in bed or in the torture rooms. Issei felt a chill upon hearing that, and part of him didn't want to know what his other self suffered. Rias was the same, since she would never dare to torture her beloved pawn and love. But when he escaped thanks to the doctors who brought him back, he couldn't help but feel that a valuable toy had been snatched from his hands. Unintentionally, the brown-haired boy let out a sigh of relief, something that the redhead noticed and gave him deep disappointment. So he sent many demons to bring him back. Something that didn't work because they always returned deported empty-handed. That Issei must be strong to be able to defeat strong demons. They had to agree with the blue-haired girl. So she had no choice but to wait for him to die either naturally or from lung cancer that she herself caused thanks to her power over human influence. Lung cancer? He was surprised since he had never smoked in his life. I see, from now on, no more cigarettes, did you hear me? Rias warned him. But I never. Did you hear me? She repeated very seriously. I heard. But he didn't pass up the chance to have it once he felt his soul was in limbo. Which brings her to this. Smiling as if she were Alice's cat in Wonderland, she took a chair and essentially sat down in front of him, resisting the urge to enjoy The Exorcist. Your soul is the only one who was dying to come up and take me in person, and as if she were a little girl who was going to receive a birthday present, she clapped her hands and moved her legs with excitement. I can't stop jumping with joy. Honestly, Issei didn't expect that from Rias, but he has to admit that he is very attracted to her. Rias, on the other hand, knew that perhaps that would be her if she let her greed control her completely. Yes, I've been told that a lot, he said, with some annoyance, taking out a pack of cigarettes and then looking at the demon. You don't care, do you? Yes, keep smoking, it makes the problem worse, Asia said, very upset at seeing him smoke. Don't do it at all, I have shares in Marlboro Fufufu, is what he replied, downplaying it. I know, they are your coffin nails, he said while taking the last one he had left in the pack with his mouth. Very appropriate, Fufufu. I didn't know you were very playful, Rias. I'm not Akeno, the redhead told her, since she wasn't like that, or was she? When the brown-haired man tried to use his lighter, it slipped from his hands due to lack of mobility and strength. The redhead looked boredly at everything. I see, I told you before that when you cut so deep you cut the tendons and lose mobility in your fingers, which would be useful to you now. It's not funny, Bucho. Kaneko-chan, that's not me. She got up from the chair and then sat on the boy's pelvis, who did not enjoy having her near at all. And even more so when he took his lighter. I'll help you. She lit it and brought the flame closer to the cigar, but when Issei tried to light it, she moved it back to make the brunette get closer to her good bust, while smelling her hair as if it were a French perfume. Wow, Rias, I didn't know that side of you. Akeno for the second time. That's not me, he repeated again, but he was blushing because of how daring his other self was. But the chestnut stopped and looked at her. All the girls felt hot because of that Issei's serious gaze. And they didn't deny it, they already had plans for their Issei to look at them like this. Are you going to light my cigarette or not? He asked, annoyed. Oh, you scare me, she said, not caring. Until, having had enough, she lit the cigarette for him and the brunette inhaled the noxious but addictive smoke that filled his lungs. Satisfied? She asked to leave the lighter on the exorcist's lap without getting up from her place. Hey, you've already lit his cigarette, now get off of him. Jealous of yourself? Akeno asked her friend. I wish. I see, since you escaped I had to settle for several of your dolls, but now I'm going to do with you what I did with them. I hope you resist me in bed, okay? Fufufu. I didn't believe that fetish, Rias-sama. Revel for the third and last time, that's not me. Now the chestnut felt dirty, he honestly doesn't want to imagine that scene. You are a sweetheart, he said it very sarcastically, feeling displeasure at hearing that and more from her. Rias looked at Issei and saw that he was starting to tremble a little. I see, calm down, remember that's not me, I would never do something like that. She tried to calm him down. Who knows, maybe you would do it. You're not helping me, Akeno. Honestly, I didn't think you were one of those who make the same mistake twice. She got her answer when she saw the same exorcist look at her arrogantly. And you didn't do it, right? What was the reason for calling me? I knew it, that's what Issei said, since he wouldn't be so cowardly to do something like that for no reason. Various things, and how is the family? I asked, trying to divert the subject. Something that worked for him. My family is fine, Dad torturing Hitler, Mom torturing Osama, my brothers playing with the sinners in the sulfur lake. Listening to the lamentations of those sinners is so boring, she said, sliding her hands under the brown-haired boy's shirt to touch his abs. That excited her a lot. What a nice family, said Ross, somewhat dismayed by what the redhead on the screen said. Issei, despite what he felt, used all his will to maintain his temper. Hold on, buddy, hold on, Kiba supports. I heard that one of your brothers wants to be like his father. Men, they are so stupid. Well, you are the exception. She dangerously brought her hands closer to his pants. He's in the other room. Whatever you say, he said without paying attention to her, unbuckling his belt. I didn't believe you were so desperate, Rias. The redhead said nothing so she could better defend herself from her queen's comments. Although he does not deny that he would have done the same thing if he were in his other self's place. He's with Irina. That was enough to stop her from unzipping and looking at the young man with some surprise. I didn't expect that. I understood the reference. Everyone looked at Gasper, who said that. What? He asked. Has in his possession the Spear of Destiny. The Longinus? Remember that it is another universe. Maybe the Longinus is not a sacred gear, said Kiba, clarifying doubts. Yes, of course, the Spear of Destiny, she said, not believing a word he said. But she knew him, she knew that when he talks about these issues it is not to joke. So she approached his face, looking him in the eyes. Is this a joke? Because I don't like you being funny. Go see for yourself, you have nothing to lose. She doubted. You waited 10 years for me, right? What's another 10 seconds worth to you? Nobody said anything because there was tension in that scene. There was a moment of silence. And without warning, she was about to kiss him. No! Everyone shouted. He closed his eyes in fear, fearing that everything would end sooner, but the only thing he felt was the demon's breath near his mouth. Don't move from here. And with that last warning, she, very frustrated, got up from the chestnut's lap and walked to the other room. Everyone breathed a sigh of relief when nothing happened. Issei was the most affected. He had touched his chest. If my heart did not stop beating because of fear. I was beginning to respect that self from another universe. The door broke, and in slow motion. The pieces floated as the redhead walked. Seeing with his own eyes that the exorcist's words were true, he could feel that his brother was inside the blonde nun. She just smirked, and then slowly took the possessed girl and moved her away from the tip of the spear that was about to do its job. And when I pushed her away, Ton! The spear stuck in the ground, breaking the tile, and the angel realized who prevented her task. Now everything makes sense. The Issei-kun over there put himself in a state of limbo to bring a more powerful demon that could stop Irina and Diodora, was Kiba's guess. And from what we see, the Rias there is a very powerful demon. Akeno finished, afraid to believe how fearsome the evil version of her friend was. Gri Gremory, said the brunette, unable to believe she was here. She looks terrified, said Kaneko. The brunette, seeing that, already got her answer. Hades will take this world in due time, she said, holding the blonde by the neck while, in the reflection made by the water beneath the three of them, a thin, brown-skinned being struggled to free itself from the iron grip. You, better than us, Irina, must know our AA. What ambition takes from you, she said this trying to subjugate her brother. Asia was horrified to see in the reflection that horrible being that is in her body. Zenobia and Irina calmed her down as she panicked. Boar of sin, inciter of lust, the angel cursed the demoness who took the insults as a compliment. A cheap boar. Sometimes I miss those old names. Time to go home, bro. Dad will be very angry with you, Fufufu. In the name of God, I will face you. But just when she was going to punch her fist, she stopped. The angel's look changed to one of terror, and the demons of satisfaction. What a pity, it seems like they have abandoned you. She knew it. You dug your own grave. Even if you are me, you deserve death for what you were going to do, Irina said solemnly. And the demon with her power not only returned her brother back to hell, but she also burned the angel to ashes. The only thing she said was, "Father?" And so he disappeared. There was silence after seeing that. Irina, don't make excuses, Rias, that wasn't you, and even if it was, I'd be grateful that you stopped me and gave me the death I deserve. There was no resentment between them. Something that made the brown-haired boy happy when he saw that they were still friends. Issei, still smoking, watched as the demon returned, but this time with one hand on the back of the chair looking at the exorcist. "And then?" she asked. "So? I know you think I passed," Zenobia asked curiously. "I'm not sure," Ross replied. "What do you want?" "An extension. Maybe I can give it to you if you want, or…" "The sister, the twin." "What about her?" he asked, wanting to know why I mentioned her. "Let her go, let her go." No one could believe what the Issei over there asked for. That made the demon curious. She would have expected him to ask for an extension so he would go find a way not to go to Hades, but he was simply asking for a person he didn't know to go to heaven. Why would I ask that? No one answered Akeno's question, as they didn't know the answer either. "Are you asking for her, a girl you don't even know, to go to heaven? Is that what you want?" The brown-haired boy's smile was enough of an answer to agree. Issei was serious. There must have been something hidden to ask for something like that. She just closed her eyes. A few seconds passed. And with a snap of the fingers. Snap. "Ready, I'm done," he finished the favor, leaving the chair aside. The girls were now distressed. The chestnut sighed, knowing what awaits him. "Issei san. Asia, control yourself." "No problem. It's time to go. I see. Our special room awaits us." She licked her lips in excitement and asked for more. Everyone felt helpless now as they saw that the fate of the brown-haired exorcist was inevitable. Yes, he put out his cigarette in the pool of blood. "Let's go," and without hesitation, even though his body was weak, he extended his arm to be taken to Hades. "No!" Asia screamed again with tears, and now Issei hugged her to calm her down. "Now, Asia-chan, everything will be fine." "But Issei-san, you are going to." "Nothing will happen to me, and you'll see why." She slowly walked away, took his arm, and began to drag him, smiling and humming happily to have her favorite soul back, imagining the fun things they would do together. Rias, even though it was her version from another universe, wanted to be there to erase that smile. But when he took the seventh step, he couldn't move it any further. Everyone noticed that. He kept using all his strength, but he didn't move. "What's going on, senpai?" The brown-haired boy smiled when he saw that. I turned to look at him, and with a last attempt I'd pull him, but nothing. I didn't understand what was happening. "Why can't you take it?" "There is a reason," Ravel-chan, Issei answered the phoenix. But a golden light blinded her for a moment, and she saw him. The gates of heaven. At that time the demon understood everything. Self-sacrifice. That left everyone impressed. Issei just tricked a powerful demon using the rules themselves to win. Heaven is won! Issei won! The church trio were happy to see what he had won. And before his eyes, the exorcist's body rose to go straight to paradise. Yes. Everyone was celebrating the victory of the exorcist Issei. "No! He's mine! He's only mine!" The redhead screamed in fury when she saw how she was deceived and more by him. "I'm sorry, another me, but he beat you." Rias couldn't be happier than she already was. As for the aforementioned, I just raised my middle finger, letting her know that she won, and she irremediably lost. Everyone looked at the chestnut tree. "What?" he asked, because of those looks that were making him uncomfortable. "We'll talk about that finger later," Issei said the redhead, since even though she gave it to her evil version, she felt very offended and angry with him. It seemed like a happy ending. But… "No! You will live!" She stopped him, opening his shirt. "What are you going to do?" Akeno shouted. "I don't know," Rias replied. "You will live." And without decorum, she put her hands on the chestnut's body, making him scream in pain. "Ah! I see." They all screamed when they saw that Issei, their own Issei, screamed and grabbed his sides, writhing in pain. Kiba immediately reached for the TV remote. "Turn it off, Yuto! Turn it off!" screamed the half-fallen one when she saw that her beloved was still suffering. "Because I know you'll make another mistake." 2. Inside, making him scream louder. Yuto, turn it off now! Rias screamed, unable to do anything while her beloved continued to suffer. He tried. Kiba kept searching. "And when you do, I'll be there to take you where you need to go." And with a final squeeze, he pulled out something harmful from inside him. Issei went into a horrible shock as he felt something being torn from his sides and from his own lungs, leaving the chestnut on the ground with pain that took over his sides. "Asia!" The blonde immediately used her sacred gear to heal him. But it wasn't a wound but a pain, and those rings didn't help. "You will live, my Issei, you will live, ha 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 ha!" Rias looked at her version. Now she felt like killing her. It didn't matter if it was a version of his. She would never forgive him for hurting her Issei. Dawn broke in the hospital, and the chestnut tree got up in pain. And walking among glass and ashes, he arrived where Asia was. Asia answers. She regretfully opened her eyes, seeing the face of that boy she fell in love with. Issei-san? He was approaching. She wanted to take those lips, but he couldn't. And he took the spear, leaving her wanting. But in the end, both achieved. Fooling the devil. When it was over, Issei was able to recover, although the pain was still in his body. Everyone had been relieved. And with the experience they just had, they preferred to forget what happened. Although the reality is different. Watching Chaos Part 1. Since that day, things had changed for the residents of the Hyodo mansion. Everyone was worried because Issei had felt an almost unbearable pain. But still, apart from that, everything was fine. They showed the video to the leaders, the Citri, the Gremry patriarchs, and more. Everyone was impressed to see another universe, or parallel reality, as Azazel calls it. But not everything was bad. Issei, after waking up from his pain, had stayed in his bed along with Rias and no one else, since she wanted to be alone with him. And I think that the next day, both after much talk and confessed feelings, they managed to unite in body and soul. A magical night for the two demons. Now everyone was gathered together, chatting, interacting, having a good time, until the bell rang. Asia immediately went to see who it was. Issei and Rias were closer than ever, and it must be said that they were happier. So much so that it caused envy in the other girls, wishing they were in the redhead's place. Footsteps had been heard from the door. Who was Asia-chan? Ria's question answered itself as she saw what the blonde ex-sister had in her hands. A case with a DVD disc. There was a very tense silence when they saw that. Asia, give it to me, please. She obeyed and gave it to him. The redhead immediately made that disc disappear with her power of destruction. They all agreed that they didn't want to go through that again. Unfortunately, hope is someone persistent. Every morning, afternoon, and night they appeared and were destroyed by Rias along with the others. But out of fear, they had to call the leaders, and they used everything they could to try to find that guy and stop him. But they couldn't find it. At the end of a night, everyone, including the leaders, were gathered in the Hyodo mansion discussing what to do, until Asia arrived with another case. Rias was already fed up. She took the case from him, ready to destroy it, but Rias vast. She was arrested by her brother. If you destroy it, there will be more, so you better see what's inside. I agree with Siscon, it is better to please him so that he leaves them alone. And faced with Azazel's words, she had no choice but to obey. Everyone settled where they could. And more Issei, who had Rias by his side at her request to help him if he suffers any pain. The same guy was shown in the video. Hello again, sorry to bother you all this time, but believe me, this is something you must see. I know the great Siscon is there watching everything, as well as the mad scientist Crow and the tender Seraphal. The other two leaders felt insulted. But Seraphal felt glad to be called that. Not to mention the cat who almost raped Issei 2 days ago, and the magician who for a week has been trying to create a potion to make him fall in love with her. The aforementioned blushed with shame, and even more so when they felt the gaze of others. But anyway, here I bring you another universe in which perhaps I left you with a lot to think about. That's why I tell you to be prepared for anything, because what you're going to see is something that could have happened. Well, since I said what I had to say, prepare your snacks, get comfortable, and get ready to see Chaos Part 1. Let's begin. In an interrogation room were several fallen angels who looked at the greatest terrorist of all. Rias Gremry aka Chaos. That's me? Everyone was shocked to see Rias, who had a very scary appearance which caused fear. Have you already spoken? He didn't say anything. The pillar of the Vala factions didn't arrive at the agreed place. These were the words they said to their leader Azazel. Pillar of the factions? Vala? That was the question everyone asked themselves. I really don't think he wants that position. Kuroka knew Vala well enough to know that that's impossible. He went inside where she was handcuffed with anti-magic shackles. He sat down in front of her. He interrogated her but got nothing out of her. Hello, incompetent inventor. Vala Lucifer did not come to his meeting. That's right, Azazel, it's a shame. What did you do with him? Excuse me? I was here. How could I do something like that? She smiled, very amused as she showed him her handcuffed wrists. This Rias is a bit sarcastic, was what Akeno said, to which the others agreed. Supposedly, Azazel, you sent him with your men, assuming that they are still your men and not Kokabil's. It feels horrible, right? Knowing how alone he is, knowing that you were responsible for the death of the hero of the factions. It seems that he enjoys pointing out the defects of others, said Azazel, being somewhat annoyed by what Rias said. Where is Vala Lucifer? Depends. It depends on what? What time is it? Why are you asking for the time? Asia asked curiously. I don't know, Zenobia answered. And what does that have to do with it? Assuming that at the time he can be in one place or another. The redhead was playing. In fact, Azazel couldn't make her talk. You have the upper hand, said Grafia, worried about something she doesn't want to know. Rias, on the other hand, now looked at me as if she were someone from a mental hospital. Well, if you want to play, that's fine. He stood up and had removed the handcuffs, putting a silver bracelet on her that nullifies magic. If you don't mind, I'll go get a glass of coffee. The cliché of the good and bad agent. Don't you have anything better than that? It seems that he says what he thinks, said Seraph, all somewhat uncomfortable. Rias, I didn't teach you to be like that, Venelana gave her daughter. But she didn't listen to her. She felt that what was going to happen would give her another perspective on life. None of that. Azazel came out. And after 2 seconds the lights came on, and the terrorist's smile grew wider, as she felt a presence that she loves so much, to the point of madness. Issei. Issei? While I appeared. He tactlessly touched the woman's head with a holy cross, making her moan in pain. Laughs. Issei immediately hugged his beloved, still impressed by what his other self did. Which, as painful as it was, he liked it. She looked at the chestnut. You know, if that Akeno was alive, she would already be enjoying the pain like a first-time prostitute. I know you can. The knock on the table caught his attention. Ah! She screamed again in pain in her hand. Rias! I'm sorry, I don't know what's going on. Issei, calm down, I know it's not your fault. Wait, she said. If Akeno was alive, was she? Kiba's words were like a bucket of cold water for everyone, and especially for Akeno. Okay, no more references. You wanted me here, well, here I am. He sounds very serious, was what Ravel said. I wanted you here. After all, you have been made the one who does the dirty work of the cowardly leaders. I can bet that when I exposed that Hitch's infidelity, and that she got killed because of it, you were late, and the current pathetic Lucifer admonished you for it, and all because I wasn't there for you. Rias Surzex felt that what he was going to hear would not be good at all. I'm not here to talk about the past, Rias. I know what Razor did was horrible, but you didn't have to kill him. That impacted several. Do you know how hard it was for me to have that pig touch me so many times, trying to break my mind? There wasn't a day when he left me alone and humiliated me in different ways. The love I had and still feel for you is what kept me from giving in completely to madness. Rias was now in shock, as was Issei. Would that have happened if the chestnut had not won that day? Serzex locked him in the cosito when he found out about that. But the damage was done and the bucking elders got away with it. Is this what you defend, Issei? Are you defending hypocrites? Issei didn't know what to say. In fact, since she was forced to marry Razor and passed into the hands of Serchins, he was broken. But the worst was how the damn Phoenix sent him a video of how he forced her to do things she didn't want, and she screamed and moaned in pain. But I couldn't do anything. Issei felt a total rage that burned him inside. Akeno, Kaneko, and Asia were the only ones who kept him going. The aforementioned were glad that at least they were there for him. Then why did you kill them? Joy that left upon hearing that. Because I could see how they, just like everyone else, manipulated you like a puppet. Now look at you, you can't even go to the bathroom without them knowing about it. I know they played with me by telling me that you were happy with Razor, but they didn't deserve that. No, of course not, they deserved more. Worse than those I put in the middle of the square. Do you remember? That toxic hitch who cheated on both guys. Please ignore the introduction and the loquendo. Everyone was truly horrified to see such a death, adding to Rias' statement pointing out the manipulation and lies of the aforementioned. What the hell had really happened there? Issei remembered well that day his restrictions had been increased. You're still the one who thinks we're all good, but you're realizing that's not the case. They replaced you with Vala, making them believe that this battle addict is the hero, and all because he has the blood of a Lucifer. Issei looked at Serzex and Azazel, who were in shock. Would they be able to? Where is Vala? He asked seriously. We're talking about our life together, and you mention that idiot? Do you know if they weren't watching us from the other side of the glass, I'd be having your strong member inside me. We'd be bucking like animals, showing love and passion. Those words were disturbing to many people. If you love me so much, why did those idiots Kokobeel and Loki hire you to kill me? Why do you want to kill me? The redhead, upon hearing that, let out a very crazy laugh as if she had been told a very good joke. What are you laughing at? I don't see the joke, is what Seraphal wonders. Not at all. I see. I don't want to kill you. I just want us to have our end together, to see the world burn for its sins. Do you hear yourself? You talk as if you really want to see the world burn, as if the Rias I knew years ago is no longer here. The question on everyone's mind was, what the hell happened to him? That Rias died the day Razor raped me. And a new one was born who is willing to get what she wants. To have power you need fear. For fear you need chaos. And I became an agent of chaos to be feared in the factions. Now all that is left is for everyone to give themselves over to chaos, including you. As much as I hate to admit it, she's right. Fear always works, were Azazel's words, knowing how effective fear is. Chaos only creates death. You became a genocidal maniac. It's true, daughter, you are not like that, Zeoticus said to his daughter. The Gremmy patriarchs were truly shocked by the future their daughter had, thanks to the fact that her ambitions of wanting offspring were carried out without caring what she wanted. To use it as a means to an end. Don't talk to me about what is right. You are not like that. You are not a god to dictate the terms of the order. You are only a weapon for them that is now effective. But when you are no longer useful to them, in the end they will discard you, they will cast you aside just like a leper. Their rules, their codes, are a bad joke. They will discard you at the first sign of uselessness. They all believe themselves better than human beings. But what they don't know is that they are worse than the beings they believe inferior. I try to make you see the reality, but they have you so tightly held by the leash with their lies that you believe. The words of that Rias were really giving everyone something to think about, and even more so the leaders. And the truth was that supernatural beings were not so different from humans. She slowly takes his hand, transmitting that warmth that the brown-haired boy had not felt for years. And he did not deny it. He still loved Rias and wanted to save her. Issei really wished that his self from that universe would save Rias. We are both monsters that the world hates, and that is why I want to bring chaos, and from that chaos an order will be made, and that order will be effective. We will both be happy together without that hitch. That confused several people. Who? You know who. Losing his temper, he grabbed the redhead by the shirt. He's already lost his temper, Kuroka said, knowing how temperamental a dragon is. Where is Val? He asked seriously. When will you understand that what I do is for your own good? He put her against a pillar, looking at her menacingly. Turning on the redhead. Ngggg. Was the groan of pain from the redhead, who felt the blow to her back. She remained hugging her lover, enduring the pain, while those inside watched everything. Everything is in order, said Azazel, worried about Issei's sanity. Really? Why didn't I believe him? Seraphal said, knowing that this could get worse. And she is not wrong. Azazel, seeing that his self from that universe did nothing, was ashamed of himself for not seeing it coming. Don't make me kill you, Rias. You lie, said Issei, knowing that he would be unable to do so. There are 2 reasons why you can't kill me. The pathetic attempt of the ruler of the underworld ordered you to keep me alive. And the second and most important is that you still love me like the first day. Understand it once and for all, Rias. I don't love you anymore. Everyone, even Issei's loved ones, could see that the chestnut was totally lying. She didn't flinch at those words, in fact, she was smiling. You are someone pure. You can't lie even if you want to, and you always forgive. That's why Irina cheated on you with Vala. Irina? He was surprised by that revelation. That was a total shock. Even Angel couldn't really believe what she heard. Are there versions capable of betraying Issei? You didn't know? The one who said she loved you only slept with whoever suited her. No. It's a lie. It's a lie. The angel grabbed her head at such a revelation. The shock was so great that Asia and Zenobia had to keep her still so she wouldn't do something crazy. He then put her against the table, causing her pain. Instead of complaining, he just laughed with a lot of humor. He's enjoying it, was what Kuroka said, and then her sister agreed. Issei, no longer having control of his anger, put up a barrier in which Azazel tried to enter to stop him. You should have stopped him earlier, was Azazel's cry at his counterpart's ineptitude. And you know that she has your child in her womb? All this time they both saw your face. This caused more anguish in Irina, who now felt totally dirty, and her friends stopped her. Touching his stomach? Just thinking that you have a child that was not from the person you love would be a horrible feeling. He took her and slammed her against the glass. Rias moaned in pain and Issei didn't move away. Issei goes with Irina. I won't leave you. Issei, please. No. Rias, are you okay? Asked the ruler of the underworld. But. Get away from her. Issei shouted at the Mao, surrounding her with his arms. Nobody knew what was happening anymore. Rias, on the other hand, knew that Issei was beginning to distrust his brother. Where are they? I love that rudeness. Then I push her into a pillar. Gah! Where are they? She enjoyed the pain. You have to choose, Issei. Save the pillar of the factions, or the girl who cheated on you with that usurper. Rog! With a scream of fury, he hit her in the stomach. The redhead felt a terrible pain in her stomach, so much so that it brought tears to her eyes, and she clung to Issei more than she was. It really seemed like everything was real now. She coughed a little too. Laughed in a macabre way, making him grab her shirt. That laugh gave everyone chills. Rias Gremory had really gone completely crazy. Her laughter and frustration make him lose control of what is right. You can't do anything to me, nothing you can do to me. With all your strength. He put her against the wall. Tell me where they are? She, instead of telling him. She kissed him wildly. Her legs clung to his waist, and her arms to his shoulders. At this point the couple closed their eyes and hugged each other, as they wanted this nightmare to end. Betrayals, deceptions, lies, everything in that universe was real. He was trying to separate himself. But when they ran out of air, she bringing her mouth closer to his ear. I whisper something to him. And immediately he released her and removed the barrier. Issei, where are you going? Azazel asked. I'm going for her. Irina was crying out of total rage. He wished he hadn't known that his counterpart was cheating on Issei. That young man who loves and wants to be with him until the end. While in the living room, the redhead just stared at the ceiling, still laughing in a macabre way. His entire plan was already cemented. This was their plan from the beginning, to turn Issei-kun against our counterparts so that he would question his loyalty. It wasn't so difficult for her after all. I think it was our fault or theirs. She didn't have to make much effort. These were Surzek's conclusions, that he was hurt by what happened to his sister and brother-in-law. And Azazel really has to rethink whether he would actually be capable of committing such a stupidity. A real chaos. Chaos plus dragon equals a destruction. And in the end there will be a new order where beings have already learned from their mistakes, and will not make them again. Where hard times will make strong people. And strong people will form quiet times. A world without greed or fear. A world without hate and indifference. A world without unnecessary wars. A world where there is only peace and happiness. A world with long and happy times of real peace. And that world is the one she wants to create. You and I will make this world a world full of happiness, my Issei. The image was gone and everyone was silent. The Gremmy patriarchs were trying to reach their daughter, but get away! The brown-haired boy didn't allow it. Since I was affected by that universe, and honestly I didn't know whether to trust them or not. In fact, holding Rias in his arms, he looked at everyone in the room with total distrust. Rias tried to calm him down, but it seemed difficult. Hence, Issei already, please let's go to bed, let's forget this please. He still looked at everyone and obeyed, tightening his grip on her without hurting her. And with that they went to the elevator. The girls wanted to talk to him, but really a distrustful Issei is very dangerous. Tonight for everyone was a totally horrible one.
Let me know in the comments below if you guys want the next part. Also check out my other video that has been shown and left. Thank you for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and share this video. And have a fantastic day. Bye.